Congressman Hice, thank you for being with us.
Great to be with you, Stacy. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful to have you here. I'm especially interested in hearing what your reaction is to seeing this so-called Women's Health Protection Act as if abortion is an act of health, since it destroys the life of one person and materially alters the life of the other person for the rest of their lives with negative consequences and effects. It doesn't stand up to medicine's edict, do no harm.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, just to be honest with you, it was one of the saddest days in Congress for me in 4 terms. I just could not believe. First of all, before voting on that particular bill, we actually had a motion to recommit. We call it an MTR, and that is basically an attempt to say, let's go back and look at this a little bit further. But it's a tool that the minority has. But our MTR said, if a baby is born alive after a botched abortion, then that baby that is alive, out of the womb, on the table, deserves to be protected. And the Democrats voted against that MTR as well. They voted against saving the life of a born baby in a botched abortion, and then immediately on the heels of that, voted for H.R. 3755, which is the most radical left-wing pro-abortion bill in the history of our country. It would totally turn upside down every state law. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's abortion on demand is what it is. And, of course, as you mentioned, abortion is not health care for the baby, obviously, but even for the mother. There are so many procedures that are dangerous for the mother. This is absolutely anything but health care. It's a horrendous bill, and unfortunately, it passed the House last week.
So it's an embarrassment for our country that when we're facing a wide open southern border, or when we have, the debacle of the Afghanistan withdrawal and the embarrassment to our U.S. armed forces, and so many other things going on, that the censure of President Biden in the U.K. Parliament and the pulling of the French ambassador, which, as I understand it, they are sending that ambassador back, but it was still a foreign policy moment of embarrassment for us. And these hits just keep on coming. And instead of addressing some of our nation's most difficult prospects, things that are really facing almost every state within the union, namely homelessness. That's another one that is really, really difficult in a lot of states. Our larger states are just have burgeoning homeless populations, and many of those homeless individuals are mentally ill and veterans. And then you have them choosing to instead address an issue that the Supreme Court's already said, against all common decency, but they've said that abortion is the law of the land across the country. So their idea that they should be able to tell Texas what to do goes against federalism and states' rights and the Constitution.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's the federal government interfering with the rights of the states to determine their own laws and policies and how they're going to operate. And it slaps right in the face of federalism and the concept that our country is based upon. And yeah, I think a lot of this really is a distraction. I think you're spot on in your assessment with what's going on. We have inflation, joblessness, homelessness. We have what's happened in Afghanistan. We have wide open borders. We've got people coming across the vaccine. I mean, look at this. The president himself today goes on national TV to get a vaccine booster, while there are hundreds of thousands of people coming across our southern border who are not vaccinated, and an enormous amount of them are actually COVID positive. And what does this administration do? This lets them come into the country, and those that were Del Rio, we were told about 10 to 15,000. The actual numbers are in excess of 25,000. But now they have all disappeared into our backyards, many of them COVID positive. The hypocrisy is unbelievable, but one crisis after another for this country that's being made by this president, this administration, and this radical Democratic Party, and to cover up the disaster that they are bringing to this country. They try to distract the American people on bills like they passed last week, the pro-abortion bill, but it's just smoke. I don't believe the American people are buying it. They are suffering the impact and watching the demise of our country under this current radical administration.